water, each like Benny.
Welcome to Hinch Farm, written by Mrs. Hinch, illustrated by Hannah George. As you're reading, think about how did the boys feel as they left their house for a new home, and what advice would you tell Ron and Len to help them feel better? Let's read. In a lovely red bricked house, there lived a family who loved to play, go on adventures and spend time with their friends. For Mum, Dad, Ronnie, Lenny and Henry, it was so much more than just a house. It was their home. It was where they cuddled on the sofa to watch movies, where they ate all of their favourite dinners, sometimes accidentally dropping the best bits on the floor for Henry, and where they always returned after fun family trips. But everything was about to change. Mum and Dad told them they were moving to a new house. It sounded very exciting, but as the boxes piled up, the brothers became a little nervous. Came the sounds of a big truck reversing. Henry, Ronnie and Lenny rushed to the window to see where all the noise was coming from. They watched in confusion as Mum and Dad began to load the truck with boxes. Today was moving day. Don't worry, boys. Everything is going to our new house. We'll unpack as soon as we get there and it'll feel just like home. The thought of their things in a new house felt strange to them. Suddenly, Henry whimpered and rushed out to the back garden. His brothers chased after him and quickly realised what he was worried about. Their beautiful Wendy house. Would that be coming too? Henry looked at Mum with big, sad eyes, but she shook her head. Sorry, darlings, that has to say, I'm afraid. Soon the house was completely empty. Henry sniffed at the bare room. The boys had never seen their home like that, and it was a little scary. Let's take a little walk through the house, one last time, and say thank you for all the fun times it's given us, Mum said. So they thanked each room for the special memories they had made there. Henry hoped there would be time for one final play in the Wendy house. But suddenly, it was time to go. Later that afternoon, they arrived at their new house. Welcome to Hinch Farm, boys, said Dad. Our new home. The brothers glanced at each other, nervously. It wasn't the same as their old home. It looked different, sounded different, and Henry even thought it smelt different. As the day went on, the boys tried really hard to settle. But when Ronnie wanted to play with his diggers, they weren't in any of his boxes. Lenny couldn't find his book about rabbits, and Henry sniffed high and low for his chicken sticks, but they were nowhere to be seen. The next morning, sunlight poured in through the window. The brothers smiled at each other and stretched. This was perfect weather to play in their Wendy house. But then they remembered where they were. This was the new house, and they had left their beloved Wendy house behind. Henry's head sunk as the boys thought about their old home. They missed it so much. Ronnie hugged Lenny, and Henry nuzzled into them both, but it didn't help. Nothing felt right. Suddenly, Henry jumped up. He had an idea. They should visit their old home and have one last play in the Wendy house. Ronnie and Lenny began dancing in excitement. Henry wagged his tail and they started running in circles round his brothers. It was great to see Ronnie and Lenny smile again. Ronnie found some paper and pencils and the boys started to make a plan. Henry watched as his little brothers drew all the things they remembered passing in the car. Before they knew it, they had a map that would lead them back to their old house. Ronnie snuck into the kitchen and packed 1 apple, 2 chocolate bars and 3 lollipops for their adventure, plus some ham for Henry. They each thought of the fun they would have in the Wendy house. Henry was looking forward to eating the chicken stick that he'd buried under a bush. Their boys set off through the front door. They tried to open the heavy door really quietly, but... Where are you going? Mum and Dad heard the door and ran down the stairs. They looked down at the boys' coats and the map in Henry's mouth and understood. Mum wrapped the boys up in a big hug. You miss the old house, don't you? It's okay to feel that way, she said. Change can be unsettling, but what will never change is how much we all love each other, so maybe we can help each other love this new house too. Dad put on some music and they danced around while they unpacked. Ronnie found his diggers, Lenny found his book about rabbits, and Henry found the stash of chicken sticks that Mum had been hiding. The house was starting to feel like home. Great work, my boys, said Dad. Now, I've got a surprise to show you. Come with me. Dad led the boys out into the garden and their eyes grew as big as saucers. In front of them stood an amazing treehouse. It was just as amazing as their Wendy house, except it had legs and was high up in the sky. We haven't forgotten you, Henry, said Dad as he handed him a new rope toy to play with. Henry stretched out on the patio happily and watched over his brothers playing. Seeing them laugh together gave him a warm, happy feeling, and as the sun started to set, he had an idea. Henry pushed everyone into the house and onto the sofa. Henry wants something, don't you, son? Said Dad. I think I know what Handsomes wants, said Mum with a smile. Mum and Dad got some tasty snacks ready and put on their favourite film. Cuddling all together on the sofa like old times, they all came to the same realisation. What makes a house feel like a home is family. Change can be scary, but with their family always by their side, the Hinch brothers can do anything. The end. Did you enjoy that story? Why don't you read another one? Don't forget to like and subscribe to read along with Benny. Bye-bye.